Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get right into it. So, you see here, this is not fake. I'm not making this up. Former Pistons player goes on TV and tells his wife he slept with 341 women. Okay, let's before I say anything, let's try to go into this article here. It's by a Ben Rohrbach. So this is in the celebrity news here, and here's the guy here pictured. He's the former Pistons player, Jason Maxill, and he now plays for Three's company in the Big Three basketball league. So here he is here. So he admittedly said that outside of all of the other things I'm thinking of, I'm trying to figure out how he kept count. So that's number one. So the next thing I'm thinking is, are there any babies out there that he's not taking care of? Diseases, unprotected sex, that kind of thing. And 341, come on, people. And I would bet it's probably even a bigger number than that. That's the other thing I'm thinking. That's just the number that he's saying. But, well, the article goes on to say that former Detroit Pistons center Jason Maxill, he revealed to a national television audience that he has slept with a total of 341 women before and during his marriage to a high school sweetheart, Brandy Maxill. This figure falls 19,659 shy of the number of women NBA legend and lifelong bachelor Wilt Chamberlain claimed to have been bedded with in his 1991 book, A View from Above. But that was no consolation to Brandy. Okay, so in other words, it didn't make her feel comforted, that it was less than 19,000. But you would think that he's not the only one. I'll just say that. There are a lot of men out there who sleep with not only male men that are sleeping with women, but they probably have some other people they're sleeping with in that number, and that aren't female, and some of this it could be one night stands, groupies, prostitutes, people that are she-males, orgies, parties, getting intoxicated, hanging out and going from city to city, traveling, and just, bedding different individuals and so on and so forth. And usually it tends to be, a lot of people will admittedly say that a lot of times it's usually entertainers, people who are involved in sports have more of a risk of doing this, but this could be really anybody, to be honest. Doesn't have to be entertainers. Just the access is like more tempting because of the fact that they do a lot of traveling to different cities and maybe different. So if they're popular and if they're attractive, they're probably going to have a lot more. Wife walked off the set of the Oprah Winfrey Network, Ayanla, Fix My Life, when her husband revealed the number of women, of course, to the host Ayanla Vanzant, that she had slept with more than 50 women, or that she had slept with more than 50 women in his life. Okay. So I guess there's some behind that. Okay. Wilt Chamberlain. It talked about Wilt Chamberlain. Let's see up here. That he had betted 19,659, shy of the number of women that NBA legend. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so I'm jumping around here. So I'm going to read that again because it didn't make sense to me. And then I'm going to play this video. There's a video under here. So Maxwell's wife walked off the set of Oprah Winfrey's network, Ayanla. Fix My Life, when her husband revealed to the host, Ayanla Van Zandt, that she had slept with more than 50 women in his life. Okay. Okay, so something's going on with this. This is crazy. Okay, so Brandy Maxwell learns the surprising extent of her husband's cheating, I guess. So sounds like they are both having issues. So how Brandy Maxwell reacted to the show. The episode was filmed about a year ago, according to a message she recently shared with the Shade Room. So thank you for all the well wishes and prayers, Jason, baby, Jason, and I needed that. Okay. So I would like to say that I'm more frustrated with him blurting out the number to the world without no regard to my feelings. 8 put a damper on our relationship, and I was willing to work on it. So over 50 tore it down. And so my focus is, and has been since we went on this show a year ago, is to shift my entire life from being a great wife and mother into being the best mother and a person that I can be. So I'm aware that my son will someday come across this video and witness what the man of his life has done to his mother and how I stood by and basically did nothing. So therefore, I have to prepare myself for that conversation with him without lies, but with compassion for my son. So I'm going to know of my upbringing and my illness, my marriage, and my life, good or bad, to raise my child, to learn how to first love and respect God, himself, women, and all of God's creations. So a former Basketball Wives cast member, Brandy, overcame an ovarian cancer diagnosis in 2007. So Ayanla Van Zandt's advice to Jason Maxwell. The Ayanla episode also explores sex addiction, alcoholism, both in which Maxwell denied, and Van Zandt offers sage advice about potential deeper-seated issues beneath the 35-year-old's infidelity. And so every time you're with another woman, you abandon you. Van Zandt told Maxwell on the episode that aired last week. And every time you tell another lie, you abandon you. And every time you take a drink to stuff the pain down, you abandon you. This wasn't about sex. This was about punishment. And so Ayanla Van Zandt, the inappropriate sex and dishonesty and many other numbing behaviors are often symptoms of a much deeper problem. So however, unless we are willing to look at the problem in the face, we'll cannot discover, or we will cannot discover the root or the cause of it. And so what is Jason Maxwell's doing these days? Detroit's first round pick, 2005, Maxwell played his first 8 seasons for the Pistons before spending his final 2 NBA seasons in Orlando and Charlotte. So after tours of the basketball duty in China and in Turkey between 2015 and 2017, Maxwell played in the Big 3 League this summer. So he signed a 1-day contract with the Pistons in August 2017 to retire from the NBA with a team that drafted him. So this article was by Ben Rohrbach, is a writer from the Yahoo Sports. So, all right. So the reason why I brought up this article is because this is just but one of many. He's not the only one. There are a lot of issues, I feel, in particularly in the Black community, with domestic violence and infidelity. And this is a perfect article. And For one, this person, he's a celebrity and he's well known by people in the sports world. And so one of the factors in this is that those are the reasons. He's a celebrity, he's popular, he's in sports. And, when you're in those type of careers or fields, you have a lot of more access of traveling and, or, that's part of the career is to going different cities, different states and, traveling and moving around. And you're going to have, women or people that are admirers or that want to sleep with you. And even if it is, if you're married or you have a family, there are people that are out there, they don't care, but what I would think is it would boil down to his how he feels about that whole thing. Is it for him, is it so tempting that he feels like, it's just easy access and it's something that it's just the thing to do? Is there that pressure because all the guys are doing it? Um, or is, two, I believe I had mentioned this in earlier video from long ago that there was a website and it kind of alerted women who are into men who are into sports or entertainment where they're traveling to and what clubs they hang out at. And those women get prepared just so that they can meet these type of um, guys or females that they find attractive or they find that, not only attractive, that have a lot of money and are that, have a lot of money to burn. And so a lot of times they try to get prepared to go to these clubs to meet these people in hopes that they can sleep with them, get a relationship going, maybe even uh, um, I've heard some say that, if they get pregnant, then that person is going to be eventually responsible for the getting them pregnant. And so they're hoping that maybe that won't, I even remember there was a time that some women thought that that would keep the relationship going because a kid was involved. But, as you see, that doesn't always work. So I don't think he's the only one. I'm not going to say this to bash him, to say that, oh, he's such a bad person sleeping with 341 women. But, I know there are women that also, are, maybe he has a sex addiction. Um, there are women that will sleep with a lot of men, so, and then there are people that are just into that. Maybe they have an addiction, it could be a deeper problem, it may be, a void they're trying to. I know some people say, well, no, they're just a sex addict, or they're just, one of those kind of people that are highly oversexed or whatever, which is it probably falls in line with sexual addiction. And so, too, when you're in a field or career where people are throwing themselves at you, that you can't isn't out there, but then too, there's some people that they can have all this temptation, but they're not gonna, take a bite off of that line, that's being thrown at them. They're not, going to, lower themselves, or they're not going to engage in infidelity if they're in a serious relationship. But I guess everybody's situation is different. The things that I had mentioned earlier is babies out there, like, you hear guys talking about child support. Here's this guy, he's not the only one, slept with 341 women. And then under here it said Wilt Chamberlain, he was at 19,659. And so I too think it's also a male ego thing, that the more women you sleep with, the more machoism and the more manly you are. So some people got it in their head that the more they sleep with people, but what's problematic about this? Babies could be involved. You could accidentally, end up regretting something that you did, and maybe the individual has a husband or a boyfriend, and they'll learn of you, and then they could come following you. The woman could be obsessed with you. Um, it could create a lot of problems, breaking her heart. She's thinking it's something serious. You're just thinking it's a one night stand or whatever. Or it could be the other way around. Maybe you're serious about her and she's not. It's a lot of things. Diseases. There's a lot of diseases, HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, all kinds of different things. With all those people, it says 1 out of every 5 has herpes. And, the numbers of HIV people are bigger. And then you have gonorrhea and syphilis that has skyrocketed. And so you got to say that within these numbers, there had to have been some clinic visits, I'm sure. And then there had to have been some women that had said that they were pregnant, or maybe you know, they didn't have the guts to stand up and say that they're expecting, because they hear all this stuff about, oh, your single mothers are bad and all this kind of stuff. And so when these women come out of the woodworks, usually sometimes they don't say anything until he dies or something happens to him, and they figure, we got a kid by this person. And so we're going to come for whatever is left over, because he didn't stay with us. He left us. He left the woman with the baby. And so we hear about these stories. And so I don't know. What do you think about this? It's crazy, but to the other thing, he said this on TV. So, maybe he felt he had to do it or whatever. But I probably wouldn't want to say this on national TV. I would have went to a private place and talked, to a marriage counselor or something like that, or been in private with the same therapist. I wouldn't have wanted to say it on TV, but maybe he felt some type of way and he felt compelled to do so. And maybe it opened the door for other people to admit their sexual history. And so I said there's a such thing as a history of who you have slept with or whom you've slept with. And so there's this fallacy that people shouldn't come out and say what their history is, or they shouldn't disclose too much baggage. But what if that baggage comes with a baby, that you're not talking about, you're not telling the other woman about? What if you're still married from a former relationship and you have not gotten a divorce yet? What if you have a disease and you have not told that person that the last relationship you were involved in is where you ended up getting a disease? And so for people to say, oh, I don't want any baggage in a relationship, I don't want anybody to tell me and disclose to me any of their baggage, then you're pretty much telling them that you don't want to hear about some of the most important things that would be involved in having honesty in a relationship. And so it's what you can tolerate. And maybe by this guy coming clean, at least to a certain extent, maybe he's wanting to clear the air of that, because maybe another reason is maybe he has child support. That might explain why, if he's getting a lot of phone calls from a particular woman who sounds like she's harassing him, but she may have a kid involved or kids, and she's demanding child support or some help with the kids, that she's had. So there's a lot of factors in this. Maybe he's sleeping with all these different people and opening himself up to more individuals. Maybe he has a disease and he's given it to a few of these women. It could be a lot of different things involved. So I just thought I would bring that out, because a lot of times it's hard for men, I think, to admit that they've had a lot of sex partners. I think women can admit, and it may be hard because they don't want to be labeled as negative, stereotyped. Oh, you're a prostitute or a slut or whatever, something really negative. But with men, it's like, oh, you're the man, and this ego trip, and so I think that's the reason why it's harder. Sometimes I feel like it's harder for men to admit it, because they don't want to tell the truth to the other woman, because they're hoping that other woman will sleep with them as well, so they can add to that 341, so they can have 342. or 45 or 40, 346 or maybe 400, 500, or reach Wilt Chamberlain's number, 19,659. Wilt Chamberlain, betting that many people. And so, you know, with all that, going on, I don't know. What are your thoughts and feedback on this? I think it's problematic. Um, and he's not the only one. I'm not trying to put a face on him and say, "Oh, this man, he's horrible. He's bad." What I'm saying is he's not the only one that's done this. There are people that aren't famous like him and don't travel, and they do this. And then it could be a guy, he's not even famous. He may be famous for other things, but not famous like this guy where he plays ball or whatever sports. You know, there are some people that's their whole thing, is to sleep with as many people as they can. And so I will say this, that for me is a turnoff. Personally, I'll add that in there, and that's probably one of my biggest reasons why I won't get involved with anyone, because he's honest, but I know there's a lot of other men out there that do the same thing that he does. A lot of people out there that have done the same thing that he's done, and they aren't honest. And so I'm going to play this video before I leave this, but at least he did eventually tell the truth. It may not make her feel comforted, but at least he did tell the truth. And so I don't want to be involved really with anyone, because I fear that a lot of people are just like this guy right here, sleeping with that many people. Or maybe like Will Chamberlain's number down here, 19,659, maybe more. And then they come and get in your face and they want to add you to the list. And then when they give you something or a disease, or they've done something to you, they lie and say they didn't do it. And you haven't even hit the number of, you haven't even slept with like maybe 5 people in your life, if ever, maybe not even that. But this person has slept with all those people, but they can lie to you and tell you they haven't slept with anybody. And so anyway, I'm going to play this video. Might have a commercial, so excuse me for that.
Does your husband have a drinking problem? That would be yes or no.
Tonight?
Yes. Do you have a drinking problem?
I say no.
Are you aware that her mother and your mother think you have a drinking problem?
Yes.
You aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
So what if you have a drinking problem?
I can say it or justify it to be not a problem, or to be saying I don't get drunk, but I do maybe have 4 beers a day.
Mr. Jason, lying, cheating, drinking. These are all numbing activities. You're both in total denial of what this thing is and what's going on. Does she know how many women you slept with?
No.
She thinks 8.
In our marriage.
In the marriage. Do you think the number matters to her?
Yes.
It would be crushing for her.
I mean, how many has it been?
What difference does it make? Why do you want to know the number?
Just to know.
It's more than 50.
Your marriage room? I'll say yes.
Now, how does that feel?
How do you think?
No, I need you to be in touch
That's
with it.
disgusting.
Why is more than 50 disgusting, but more than 10 ain't?
I'm not saying more than 10, is it? 8 is a lot. It was a lot for me.
Well, what do you think he's doing?
I don't know.
Have you asked him?
I haven't. I've asked. I don't know.
Well,
and at this point, I don't care. I don't want to.
You don't want to know?
No, I don't.
Why?
I just don't.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. No. Miss Brandy, leaving is not gonna help.
What are your thoughts and your feedback on that? I just think that it's just sad, but it's a huge problem. And, you know, this guy, at least he admits it, but eventually they must have gotten with her and told her the number. But that's a heck of a lot of people to sleep with within a marriage. It's like now your questions are, how long were they married and how much time did he have to sleep with all those women? But like I said, Wilt Chamberlain, 19,000, you know, but I think that's in the course of his lifetime, I would believe. But this guy, in the course of his marriage, 341 women. Your thoughts, your feedback, your comments on this. Thanks for listening.